almost fell and died right there. I'm getting myself a free treatment of my hair. I'm actually cut my hair soon, and I'm really excited, but not yet. Anyways, so before we go into the video, I wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update and just kind of talk about what's on my mind, what I plan, especially for this channel and stuff. Just real quick. So I'm about to finish school. This week is the last week, May 4th. And during that time, I'll be working full-time at a marketing company called Brand Lab Media. And I'll be moving out, hopefully, in June. So within this transition, trying to figure out posting videos, and I actually want to try to get this channel to the next tier, whatever that is. Tier 4. I don't even know what tier I am right now, but just for content-wise and just professional appeal. Anyway, that's just kind of my thought, my plan, but I'm going to be kind of figuring out how to do videos and stuff until I get there when I move out. So, not really sure. But anyways, the topic at hand. College. Is it a waste of time? Or is it something that you could definitely benefit to better your life? The correct answer is yes! Which one? Exactly. So, this is an interesting topic that I find. So I'm in college right now, but I started out actually not even going to college. When I finished high school, back in 2012, they're all trying to force me into, what do you want to do with your life? What do you want to do with your life? What do you want to do with your life? Where do you want to go to college? What do you want to do to college? I'm like, I don't freaking know. Stop asking me this question. Because I knew I didn't want to spend, I didn't really know much about college, but I knew it was expensive. And I didn't want to just go head first into something I had no idea what's going on and then cost a whole bunch of people a whole bunch of money. So I decided to skip it out and go to work. Actually, no, I didn't go to work. I went to work afterward. Actually, what I did was that I was having an introspective moment, and I was thinking to myself, maybe I should go and, I don't know, figure myself out a little bit. So I went to a thing called YWAM. I don't know if you've ever heard of YWAM. It's literally the letters Y, W-A-M, called Youth with a Mission. It's like a missionary organization, something. So I got to go to Kenya for 3 months and got to do this like Bible intensive thing for another 3 months prior to that. And so that allowed me to just kind of figure out, just kind of start the process of, you know, who am I as a person, and not being shoved into like a system right away. Yeah, because I think that's kind of the issue, is that people aren't allowing themselves to find out who they really are. They allow themselves to get shoved into a system, allow the system to define them, and then when all the baggage and crap happens afterward, they don't know who or what really happened. And then society, of course, is now blaming all these random nuances as to, you know, why people are behaving in the way they do and whatnot. But anyways, that's beside the point. So after YWAM, I went to work. And I worked at King Soopers. Those of you on the East Coast might think of it as Kroger. Those people abroad, it's a grocery store. I worked at the deli. I cut the meats, and the cheese, and all that stuff. I was there for about a year, and I got tired of it. It was like one of the hardest jobs in the whole building. They paid well, and the next highest pay was the night shift, and I wasn't about to go to, doing, 2 a.m. shifts and all that stuff. So I did that one instead. Though a long time of that, it got me a little bit ambitious. I was like, you know what? I don't really know what I want to go into, but I'm gonna go into it, whatever it is. And I mean, I didn't go into something randomly, but I was thinking about going to Berkeley in Massachusetts for music, but that just seemed way too out of the way, way too expensive. And yes, I do feel like I compose music well, but not to the level of Berkeley. And if I go to Berkeley, that is pretty much setting my life, you pretty much do music for the rest of your life, and nothing else. So I was kind of like, ugh, I don't really know about that. So I kind of fiddled around, and then I was like, film. I wonder if there's like a film school nearby. And so lo and behold, there is a film school darn near right next to where I live, called the Colorado Film School. And I was like, sweet. Dove right into it. And absolutely loved it. And learned a lot, and actually was there, wanting to be there, wanting to learn. It was just a very engaging experience. And then I finished that school. I then graduated, but it was a community college, so I didn't really have a bachelor's, and I was thinking, well, if there's a possibility to have a bachelor's, that'd be great. And so I looked around, and it was like 2 to 3 or even 4 years to get the bachelor's, basically starting over. I'm like, this kind of sucks. No. But I was being a little pressured by my parents to get a bachelor's because they're coming from a day and age where a bachelor's actually really did set you apart. And it still does now, but I'll get to that in a little bit. But they're really driven by that. And so they were really pushing me to get a bachelor's. And I was like, okay, so let me look around and see if I can find something. Eventually found UNC. And you guys have seen some videos of UNC on here. And now I'm pursuing a bachelor's in communication because it was the easiest bachelor's basically. And I can get a bachelor's in a year and a half. After this semester, I will have 1 semester left. You can see college did really well for me. I'll have 1 semester left, and I'll be hopefully graduating December of 2018. Oh yes, very state-of-the-art. And I'm really excited, and I can get all this crap out of the way and just finish and move on with my life, basically. But then, as I'm watching these people, because this whole time I grew up, I was in community college. I went to the Colorado Film School, which is also connected to Community College of Aurora. And then I also went to Front Range in Fort Collins, and there was a very different atmosphere there. People wanted to be there. They wanted to learn. They wanted to learn a craft or a trade. The classes are very specific. They aren't just there to be there. And so that breathed a very just influential atmosphere. And you're like, okay, cool. You know, you feel good about it and wanting to pursue, and everyone around you is purposeful of what they're doing. Then I went to university. First time I've ever went to a university, really. And mostly the people I'm meeting there have no clue what they're doing. And sometimes they're even fresh out of high school. The other place are like moms and just older people, or just people trying to find another way to university without having to actually take university classes, because you can take, you know, your prerequisites way cheaper at a community college. And I'm at the university, and people are just completely, I don't know, they're just lost. They lost, boy. They lost. And they just don't really know what they're doing, especially in the field that I'm going into, or that I was studying. Communication is very simplistic. I mean, in a way, it's very obtainable, I guess I should say. And more people, I guess, can utilize it in more different fields. And so if people don't really know what they want to do, they pursue that one. And so it got me thinking, what is the use of university? Is it really worth someone's time, money, and do we really need university? Now, this is kind of an interesting question, because looking back in my life, I'm in a funny place, because I don't really need to be at the university right now, and I could have been head deep in the workforce for film stuff if I didn't go pursue my bachelor's, but that's another thing. So looking back in my life, I took a second. I took time to just figure myself out, because goodness gracious, high school, it focuses you on just how to, or not just kind of like not cultural expectation, goodness gracious. High school trains your mind to think a certain way, but the rest of the world doesn't utilize how high school is, because most of the time, even high schools, I guess, they aren't what they used to be, you know? I'm one of those old kids now. I'll be like, it was not what it used to be. It would be nice to learn about some things like taxes and all that stuff, and even me trying to figure out, I don't know anything about taxes, and I'm going to probably get in trouble because I don't know, and I'm not about to, you know, read hundreds of pages of IRS files, which I actually did for business stuff, and it still didn't really make much sense. But we get trained to think a certain way. Now, there are very good things about education. Problem solving, learning, and whatnot, and people that complain about math don't really recognize what they're doing is learning how to use different, there's bugs all over the place, how to use different pieces to solve an equation. Now, in math, it may be x's and numbers, but in real life, it may be you have this situation and that situation, and how do you put them together? And so math actually really helps you to problem solve in that way. So I'm not like not against that kind of stuff, but the problem is there's no like, we're so focused on how do you contribute to society. But how can we contribute to society if we don't even know who we are? Especially back in the day, I feel like there were more stronger issues going on in the world that kind of bound us together. And so we kind of found who we are through the struggles. Now, we're like big couch potatoes. And so we never really had to, I mean, not everybody, but never really had to lift a finger for anything like serious. I'm now going back the other way. Whee! And so we're kind of stuck in this identity crisis because one, media, we kind of identify ourselves through things that are not even real. And it could be movies, celebrities, music, just all that stuff. So media. And then not really having ourselves be pushed through hard struggles to realize who we really potentially are as people. So it's always great. So like what I love to do is come out here and actually go barefoot. I am barefoot right now, but I'm on a longboard. But like I'll go traveling up the river or something like that, try to experience some struggle and just, you know, figuring out like what am I capable of as a person. I mean, that's a very small thing, but I think it's very needed for us to really hone in that self-identifying trait that we seem to have missed. And so now we go to YouTube trying to find that personal connection because nobody understands us. The society, the norm, the structure that we live in no longer doesn't feel like they understand us, but they're also structured by another generation. And now we're trying to move forward in trying to figure out who we are and who we think we are, but who we are and who we think we are doesn't fit in the mold of society. So how does this all fit in with college and all that stuff? So we just go in from high school into college, not really knowing what to do, because that's what you do, right? You go to college and you see the statistics that people that have a bachelor's are X% amount more capable of making more money than a high school graduate, and then of course people on the other side are saying like, you know, these people who are dropped out of high school and they were billionaires or millionaires or whatever, and you know, it's just kind of a mess. And especially in this kind of like just the West, how you actually make money almost isn't really by what you're capable of doing, but how well you can capture an audience and give them that self-awaring experience. Just a thought. And so, with that whole situation, I would say college is an absolute waste. Don't even bother going to university. But you will find yourself stuck. I mean, some people, they know how to play the system. So like when I went to King Soopers, where I worked, my manager, he never went to, I mean, I think he teetered in college or like community college or something like that, but he never really pursued anything more than just high school. But he's a manager there. He knows how to work hard and pretty much climb the ladder, and he's going to be paid well and really be able to get a good job security, and they can move. He said hi, but he has like a big bike. Cool. He's gonna have good job security because you can really much be a manager anywhere, especially in food. Like there's always gonna be food as long as there's gonna be people. But he never really went to college for that stuff. Maybe down the road if they need him to be a certain position, but they need him to learn certain like marketing skills or whatever at college, they'll probably pay it for him. But that just goes on to show that you didn't really need college for that. And so I would definitely say that we have to think twice about it. So I would definitely encourage people after high school, I don't know if you are in high school or what age you all are, but don't let the system pressure you to jump into, as soon as I said jump, a fish jumped. Oh, I wonder if you could see it. Maybe you saw it. I don't know. I'm not gonna stay on it too long. It was just fish. Don't let the system pressure you to jump into something that you don't really know what you're doing, costing you and your parents a whole lot of money that they don't even have to spend, especially now that will put our economy at risk, because now everyone's in debt and the amount of jobs to sustain that kind of intense learning aren't even there. So I can have this bachelor's degree and still be being paid 15 bucks an hour at some random place, especially with the minimum wage going up. So it's just kind of a strange thought. So I would definitely say, don't. But find a trade. Find something you're interested in. If you don't know what it is, you'll find it when you're in a job you hate. You're like, you know what, I want to do film stuff. And then you might even find yourself being really good at it. You need to put yourself through those difficult pinches in order to discover a part of you that you never really knew was in there. But it had to be squeezed out by struggle. Because a lot of times you're never forced to trying to make those kind of decisions when you're comfortable. But yeah, and also it is nice, maybe even save up money, go travel a little bit, kind of see the world, instead of being cooped up in high school or homeschooled or wherever you were. Homeschool might be interesting, different, or I don't really know exactly about homeschool. I was homeschooled for 1 year and I hated it. It was back in 2nd grade. I was like, where are my friends? But yeah, high school really makes a situation that you think the world is going to be like that, and it's not. And then it kind of is in college in a way, and it's just almost an abomination. Because goodness gracious, when I went back to college, I'm having in my mind mature people, and then I literally feel like I'm in high school again, even worse, because now these are grown-ups thinking like kids, and they're never really pushed into that extreme. Anyway, so other things that I think, but one thing I do think good is about college, some things you just cannot do in university or cannot do in community college is, so say you find yourself like, you know, I want to be a doctor. Cool. That is something in university. There are just things that you can't really get in a community college. I don't think, yeah, you can't get a bachelor, or you can't get either a bachelor's or a doctorate and all that stuff. If you wanted to be a doctor, something in that like engineering higher grade of education. And so I would definitely encourage, if that's something you feel like you want to go to, then college is for you. University is for you, and you will want to go to a good one because you also want to be reputable by the college that like supports you or whatever. But for other trades, I mean, goodness gracious, YouTube is a wonderful place to learn all sorts of things, like even camera stuff. Now, the good thing about college, most of the time, depends on what thing you're trying to go for. You're supposed to have people that are like connections, and you use those connections to jump into the career field. But if you are, you know, jumping into college and you're spending, you know, $6,000, $7,000, $10,000 a semester, and you don't really know why you're there, you don't really know where to look because you don't know what you're doing there, it's a waste of time. Absolute waste of time. But I do have to say, people in other countries, if you have a bachelor's almost in anything, they will highly respect you. Like Kenya, just those other countries, they highly value education, but it really does make a difference. But also it's because they're in a position where it can be valued. Here, where you can be educated in anything almost. Anyone can get a bachelor's basically, and no one knows what they're doing, and they have this self-identity crisis. And when you have a country like that, education seems a little different. What they value isn't really education, they value something else. Which makes me really interested to see the future of America, or even Europe. I don't really know how Europe is, but especially in America, we're a whole bunch like a ghost. Like, we're a whole bunch of ghosts just wandering about, trying to figure out who we are. And there's a pocket of a few people that really got their crap together and they're trying to plow forward. Props to them. They're going to probably feel really left out. Those are probably the INTJs anyway. But But yeah, the population of America is going to be very interesting. But that's mostly my thought about college and all that stuff. So I would say definitely don't even go to university. If you don't know what you're doing, don't waste the money. If your parents are really pushing you, then that's a different situation. That's a whole different situation. I don't really know what to do about that or what to tell you. Try to convince them, you know, I don't want to spend your money. I don't want to spend my money. I don't even know what I'm doing yet. This weird guy named Eric told me so on the internet. And whatnot. But, oh, that's, I guess, one last little round thought. I know it's 20 minutes long. Props to you if you stuck around. There is something really good about college, but however, it doesn't have to be university. It can be anything. As long as you're in a group of people that is challenging your views. The thing is, I'm around some people that just got out of high school, or not even just got out of high school, 3 years in, or 3 years after graduating, but no one has really challenged their perception on things. Now, they definitely are learning things that they value more. If they want to learn something, they're going to read something very specific, then great. But what's nice about the education system is that it forces you to learn to articulate, read, be questioned, question things. You learn about this kind of, so Euthyphro's dilemma, for instance. I don't know if you guys know what that is. Look it up. I think it's EUTHYRO''S dilemma. I think that's how you spell it. That made me go thinking. And I was like, well, what if they're wrong? Or I think that's the guy who did it. What if Pluto's wrong both ways? Or Socrates and all those fancy people. And so you start thinking and you start questioning how you believe, and then you start to implement that and you start to test and all that stuff. I think that is fantastic and that's like the most valuable thing about education. But however, that's not what it has become. And we'll start losing sight into what the education system is supposed to be and start losing the value of being tested, being questioned, having to prove yourself, having to prove the world around you, have to prove the claims that are around you. Hear a theory and have yourself say, I agree or disagree. And if you agree, why do you agree? And if you disagree, why do you disagree? And just all those kind of things. It makes you think. And then reading, trying to do, abstract thinking and all that stuff. So blah, 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 blah. All that stuff, I definitely encourage the education system through that. But university is not always the best route to do that. If you're really just trying to learn things. General learning stuff, go to community college. YouTube is a great place. There's a plethora of things to learn from where you don't have to spend $10,000 a semester or more. So anyways, I hope you guys got something on this video. Maybe hopefully this helped you if you're kind of in that dilemma. It is a strange and awkward dilemma that we are in. And well, hopefully we can find a way out of it. Anyway, I would like to hear what you guys think, actually. It's a very interesting topic, and I will see you guys in another video or another life. You never know. Let's see if I can get this sunset. Oh, so beautiful. All right, see you guys later.